This is the John B. Connolly Unit Prison in Texas. This is not an ordinary prison, and it is one of the maximum security prisons in America. Among the prisoners there were 7 people who were more dangerous than all the prisoners. These 7 people were always planning to escape from this high-security prison. Before anything else, let's go together to get to know these 7 people better. The head of all these 7 people is a person named George Rivas, who was sentenced to 270 years in prison for the crime of theft, kidnapping, and murder. Another one of those prisoners is Joseph Garcia, who was sentenced to life imprisonment for killing a woman in the street. Next is Randy Halpern, who was sentenced to 30 years in prison for beating a 3-year-old child. The next person is Larry Harper, who was sentenced to 50 years in prison for rape. It's better to know that beating someone in America is a very serious crime. Patrick Murphy was sentenced to 50 years in prison for beating someone. Another member of these dangerous prisoners is Donald Newberry, who entered the bank armed and wanted to steal a lot of money from the bank, but was arrested and sentenced to 30 years in prison. The last one of these prisoners is Michael Rodriguez, who was sentenced to 99 years in prison for the crime of hiring a hitman to kill his wife, who was fortunately arrested before his wife was killed. This dangerous group of criminals were in prison together for years and decided to escape from prison together. And no one knew how long these prisoners had been planning to escape. At 11 a.m., 13 December 2000, when 5 of these prisoners were cleaning the floor of the library hall, the lunch bell rang. When the bell rang, the officers who were there told them to stop work and go to the dining hall for lunch. The prisoners told the agents that our work is not finished yet, let us finish our work. The agents agreed, and 2 of the agents stayed there, and the rest went to the dining hall for lunch. In the meantime, Rivas tells one of the agents, "Please open the door of the equipment room because I want detergent." That agent also opens the door of the room for Rivas, but at the same moment, all those 5 people attack the 2 agents, take their clothes, and imprison the agents in the room. 2 of those prisoners put on the clothes of the officers, and since they knew that at that time everyone had gone to the hall for lunch, they went to the dressing room of the officers. And in order not to identify the rest of the prisoners, they took clothes from the officers' lockers, and they took a series of tools like a hacksaw and round scissors with them. The clothes they took, they were the clothes of agents who could only be present in the prison environment and needed other clothes to go out. These 7 prisoners had paid so much attention to everything in that prison in those few years that they knew about everything. There, 2 of them were able to get out of the prison under the pretext of installing a camera in the clothes of the officers they were wearing. At that time, Randy Halpern, who was in the prison environment, decided to go to the watchtower of the prison to access the key to open the main door of the prison and remove the weapon. He managed to reach the watchtower, knock the agent there unconscious, and took 3 of the most important weapons from there. Those 4 people who were inside the prison were able to take the key of the van that was in the prison and get into the car wearing the uniforms of the officers, and Randy opened the main door of the prison for them from the watchtower. And they left the prison. In the meantime, Randy was able to reach the 6 people who were outside the prison with the weapons he had taken and ran away together. The escape plan of these 7 prisoners was so detailed and planned that no one suspected that they escaped from prison. After realizing the escape of the prisoners, the prison officers quickly informed the nearby police stations that 7 of the prisoners escaped with a van, and they have some weapons with them. Those 7 prisoners had cars, guns, but no money. Therefore, when they reached the first electronics store called Radio Shack, they decided to steal some money from there. They also bought some powerful walkie-talkies from Radio Shack so they could listen to the police. And there, they stole a car so that the police could not find them, and they moved to Dallas. It is better to know that Texas has many borders with Mexico, and usually everyone who escapes goes to Mexico, so the prisoners decided to go to Dallas, which is in the north, to mislead the police. In order not to be arrested by the police on the highway, they had to go through side roads. That's why it took them 11 days to reach Dallas. After 11 days, they go to a store in Dallas again to steal money. But when they want to enter the store, someone outside the store sees them armed and calls the police. A policeman named Aubrey Hawkins, who was nearby, quickly reaches the place. He enters the store and asks them to surrender, but they didn't intend to give up and go back to prison, so they shoot at Aubrey Hawkins and 11 bullets hit that officer and he died there. The death of this officer saddened all of Texas because he had a 5-year-old son. And it was one day before Christmas, after leaving the store, those 7 people changed their car again and stole another car. They made some clothes in Dallas, and the next day they went to church for Christmas. But luckily, a lady in the church recognizes them and calls the police. But this time, the police does not go to them and observes 7 people from a distance with their car and personal clothes to arrest them at the right time. They leave the church and go to a parking lot in a store and decide to separate in order not to be in danger. Therefore, in the parking lot, 3 of them get into another car to mislead the police, but they are unaware that the police are monitoring them from a distance. Those 3 people were arrested by the police as soon as they left the parking lot and went on the road because they were not armed. 2 of the 4 people who were in the car get out of the car and go to a park that was near them. The 2 people who were in the car leave the parking lot and continue on their way. Some policemen follow the car and some others go towards the 2 people in the park. The policemen were able to surround the 2 people who went to the park, but one of those 2 people shoots himself with a gun before being arrested by the police, and he dies there. And only one of them is arrested by the police. But the 2 people who went by car were able to escape from the police and hide in a hotel for 23 days. After 23 days, one of the 2 people called the police and said that, "If you let us talk to the reporters, we will surrender," and the police accept their condition. Those 2 people, when they talked to reporters, they only complained about the prison system and said that those who run these systems, the murderers are bigger than us, and there is no justice in these prisons. It is better to know that there is no death penalty in many U.S. states except Texas. Therefore, in the Texas court, they sentenced the 6 people they arrested to death. In the state of Texas, execution is done by injecting poison into the blood of the prisoners, and that person dies in a very short time. Years of planning to get to death faster. What do you think about this video? The video ended today. Thank you for being with me until the end and supporting me. Wait for my next videos. Love you. Bye.